Hi everyone, I hope you're well. A question I get asked so frequently on my coaching programs is networking in the context of job search techniques. Can you really find a job simply by talking to people in your network? And the simple answer is yes, it really does work. As Jamie Brown mentioned in his blog that we published earlier this week, in which he discussed how he bounced back from redundancy, he made references to networking on more than one occasion. And it was, in fact, that very act that got him a replacement job really quickly. So, how does networking in the context of job search techniques work? Firstly, it's not about going to events, and especially in this climate when most events are now either online or they've been cancelled altogether. For me, networking and job search techniques is all about tapping into your existing contacts. And that can range from former colleagues and classmates through to clients and family and friends. And they don't necessarily even have to be lawyers, because that's one of the pushbacks I get. Well, I can't talk to anyone about my situation because they're not lawyers. But you don't know, they may know lawyers. I know that my sister isn't a lawyer, but she's got lots of lawyers in her mum's network, for example. Secondly, they certainly don't need to be senior contacts either, because again, a pushback I get from junior lawyers I work with is that, well, I don't know any partners, so how could anyone help me? Well, I can tell you now that the trainees I've worked with on my outplacement program, quite a few have secured new jobs simply by talking to other trainees at firms who they did the LPC with. So firstly, identify who is in your network. Secondly, have a think about how they can help. Because as I've said repeatedly in written blogs and to clients on a one-to-one basis, it's not just about going around with a begging bowl, asking people if they've got jobs or do they know of any jobs. The way that your network can help you is also connected to inside information. They might also be able to give you an overview of options. And if nothing else, they can frankly offer you a bit of moral support and emotional support, which is especially important for any of you who are experiencing a redundancy situation or concerned about job security. Another area where your network can help, of course, is with references and frankly just putting in a good word. Including your CV references available on request is really not that impactful, because the expectation is that you will be able to provide references. So if you are already out of a job and actively looking for a new one, then you could potentially have references to accompany your CV. Because usually the reason why you don't provide references in advance is because one comes from your current employer, and obviously to be able to do that in advance would mean tipping your employer off that you're actively looking for an alternative position. The third way that your network can help is especially important for those of you who, through semi-forced circumstances, are having to think of a reinvention. Lots of lawyers I work with are thinking about a potential career change, and one area where they potentially struggle to move forward is in the context of ideas generation. What are the alternative options that are available to them when all they've known for most of their career is a career in law? So you can use your network to learn about different career paths that perhaps family and friends have taken. We call these informational interviews. And it's really about having that warts and all discussion with your contacts to see whether, what advice and insight they can offer you as to whether or not what they're doing would be a viable option for you going forward. The final point I want to make with regard to networking and job search techniques, in fact, it applies to networking full stop, is that it can be a bit of a slow burner. So in the context of looking for a job, and I always use the sort of breadcrumb analogy. So when you're talking to people, what you're doing in essence is doing a bit of business development on yourself and you're leaving that trail of breadcrumbs that leads back to you, so that even though people might not have a job to offer you straight away, or may not be aware of any jobs that are suitable, but what you're ensuring by leaving that positive lasting impression is that they think of you as and when organisations are in a position to start hiring again. Hopefully that helps, and thank you for listening.